Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Unbound podcast. This week, we are back for Staff Mutiny Part 3. That means I'm joined once again by our COO, Megan Weber, our admissions director, Ellie Smith, and our courses director, Victoria Grant. Before we get into the hard-hitting holiday questions we have for your holiday-themed podcast today, if you're listening to this on Black Friday, the actual day that it's released, well, congratulations. Thank you for caring. Thank you for caring about our podcast over the holidays. I'm surprised and grateful. But if you're a more realistic person and maybe you're listening to this after the holidays, I hope you find it entertaining. I hope you find it interesting. And if you're a student in the community, then you're a student that knows the right type of person, the type of person that belongs in this community. And that makes you the ideal person to help us recruit. So if you go to beunbound.us/refer, there's a special offer there. You can get free registration to an event of your choice. You get free access to our Navigate course, which will be running again next year. And the student that you refer gets $250 off of the registration, which is the best discount that we offer ever in the history of the world. So that's a pretty cool deal. And even as for you as a student, that's like an $800, almost a $900 value that you get for free if you refer a student and they enroll with us. So we would be eternally grateful, and we show a small part of that gratitude with this offer. So if you go to beunbound.us/refer, you can learn more about it there. You can get your unique referral link and send that to your friend who you think would be good fit for Unbound and a good fit for Ascend. Also, right now we are accepting registrations for Basecamp. As of the day that this podcast comes out, we're still running the best deal on Basecamp. So if you register before November 30th, you get a free t-shirt, which is, again, I've said it on Facebook. I think it's one of the coolest shirts we've ever offered. You should really check it out. And then in addition to that, you save $200 on registration. So it's only $399 to register. So you can go to beunbound.us/basecamp to learn more about that. And I just like to point out that this is actually, you guys don't really know this because this is behind the scenes, but this is the last podcast that Seth Showalter is editing for us. He was on the Unbound National Student Cabinet. He's been kind enough to edit the first 20 episodes or so of this podcast. But shout out to Seth. Thanks for editing the podcast. The students have been enjoying it. We've had a blast doing it. And I'm super glad that you were able to help us produce it. So if you see Seth in person at an event or virtually on Facebook, make sure to let him know that you're grateful if you're a listener of the podcast. With all of that being said, I'm going to hand the reins to Megan because she has the hard-hitting holiday questions for us today.
Well, thanks, Ben. I'm going to kick this off with a question for everybody. So we are, just the day of recording this, we're 4 days prior to Thanksgiving. And so I'm wondering, what do you guys think is the appropriate time to start listening to Christmas music? I know some people who think that's like July 1st and others who think we're still a week out from that. So do tell.
So mine has nothing to do with the time of year and everything to do with the weather. I do not like, it's very uncomfortable for me to listen to Christmas music if it's not cold, which I realize is not something that everybody can use as a measuring stick, because if you don't live in a state that gets snow, or ever gets cold enough to wear a sweatshirt, then you're kind of just out of luck. But I have always lived in places, as far as I remember, I lived in Georgia once, I don't remember that, where it gets cold. And so I've always been able to use that as like a measuring stick for as long as I've cared about when you listen to Christmas music. So that's my personal, which means that here in Virginia, there have been days where I've been able to listen to Christmas music and other days where I just don't listen to Christmas music because the weather here is all over the place. And some days it's warm, some days it's cold. It's very confusing. So I have had like a very sporadic Christmas music experience this year so far.
I feel like that'd be tricky. Like you'd get used to listening to Christmas music and then you have to turn it off. But okay. Very interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of mood shifts, but it's fine.
I'd just like to note that if you're watching this podcast, Ellie is currently in a t-shirt. Mm-hmm. So I think this means that today is not a Christmas music day.
That is accurate.
I'll jump on here and say that normally I am definitely an after Thanksgiving girl. Like when it comes to Christmas, I love fall. Fall's one of my favorite seasons. So I like getting as much leverage out of fall as I can before we switch to Christmas. This year, however, in 2020, I think, May would have been a good time to start listening to Christmas music. I'd say at this point, kind of all bets are off, and as early as people want to start.
Yeah. And hopefully I'm probably, as usual, I'll probably be the buzzkill on this podcast because I'm not an incredibly seasonal person. So really, like, seasons kind of happen to me. I don't really usher in any festivities. I don't play Christmas music. Christmas music gets played. I go to the Walmart and I'm like, oh, they're playing Jingle Bells or whatever. And I'm like, I guess it's probably Christmas season. There are obviously other indicators as well. But if you're talking, I think post-Thanksgiving is like the most defensible position that exists. Basically, everybody I know that plays Christmas music pre-Thanksgiving is like a fanatic. Like they're a super fan, right, of Thanksgiving. But I mean, I tend to agree on like a theoretical level. Probably after Thanksgiving, let Thanksgiving have its time and then move into Christmas. That makes sense to me, but do I really care? Not really.
A defensible position.
Yes.
Christmas music as a defensible position. I'm not sure I've ever heard those things in the same sentence.
Yet and nobody here is surprised that we heard those in a sentence from Ben Billups. So,
yes.
Megan, what's your stance?
I would tend to lean with Victoria and Ben. Like, I would prefer to listen to Christmas music after Thanksgiving. Sometimes it's a little tricky because I feel like Christmas music then gets just such a short season, and I love it so much that I tend to listen to music a lot more in December than in any other month. But yeah, I'm generally a wait and let Thanksgiving have its time. It only gets a short little time. So yeah.
Well, we're all very festive. That's good to know.
All right. Well, Ellie, since you think we're not very festive, you can answer the next question, which is, what is, in your opinion, the weirdest holiday tradition?
This is the easiest question in the world for me. Any of the holiday traditions that include lying to children, I don't understand. Santa Claus, Elf on the Shelf, please drop in the comments any other ones that involve lying to children, because I will side with you on how weird they are. I've never backed those ever. And I was a child at 9 years old who let every other child know that Santa Claus was not real. So it was a problem for my young childhood friendships, but overall, I was just a very honest child, so I don't see a problem with that. But yeah, so any of the ones that involve lying, if I'm missing any of them, the only ones that come to mind right now is Santa Claus and Elf on the Shelf. I'm sure there's multiple others, but like just in like the realm of like fantasy stuff, like Elf on the Shelf, Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, Easter Bunny, all that crap. Like, I'm just like, how are you going to reconcile this when the child turns 9, like I was, and realizes that all of this is 100% false?
Okay, so this is a tangent, but now I'm really curious. When did you guys find out Santa Claus wasn't real? Were you heartbroken? Did you tell other people? Did you keep the secret? I want to know.
Okay. I never believed that it was real. I wasn't ever told that Santa Claus was real. I was definitely raised on the side that I currently stand, that it's not real and it's wrong to lie to your kids about it. So that is very big reason why I hold the opinion I do have now. But yeah, I was never believed that any of it was real. I just went around ruining it for other kids.
Victoria?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, Ellie, it's that so we both have military family backgrounds, and maybe that's part of it, because we never did either. It was a game that we played, and we would write letters to Santa Claus and leave cookies out, but it was all just a big game. And yeah, so there was never a time in which I thought Santa Claus was real. I just thought it was an attitude that we had, or, just something that we did just for fun.
Okay. So
but it was a fun game.
Since you didn't believe Santa Claus was real, it was a whole game, but you did leave out cookies. Who got to eat the cookies?
Mom and Dad.
Okay,
and now
that's
Savannah
not fair.
So we have kept the tradition going with the boys because we're like, no, this needs to come around. So now Mom and Dad go to bed early, and Savannah and I tell the boys that they need to leave cookies up. And then Savannah and my sister and I, stay up late and eat them.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep, works out well.
I don't remember ever thinking Santa Claus was real either. It's similar to Victoria. We did the traditions, like we would put out oatmeal on the lawn for the reindeer or leave out cookies for Santa. And we had a special plate that we did it on, but it was just a fun tradition or thing that we did. So
yeah, no, we just hid on the staircase trying to catch my parents putting presents out. fully knowing that it would be them and not Santa Claus, just so they could be little pills. But
That's awesome. Well, it sounds like everybody here has at least a relatively healthy relationship with a belief in Santa Claus. It's funny because like I remember like my brother told me Santa Claus isn't real, but like I don't remember exactly how old I was. I was pretty young, and I also don't like it didn't affect my life. I probably believed it, but I probably didn't care if it was true. It's one of those kind of things. It's it's not a deeply held belief. I'm always curious because it's like, it seems like a big deal. Like parents really want to keep it a secret. Some kids are like heartbroken or whatever, but I always wonder, like, is it really a big deal, or are kids like, I think kids are smarter than that. Like they're like, okay, well, this is like a fun thing, right? And like maybe they think some part of it is true, but I don't know. I would be really curious to know, but
I mean, the one kid that I ruined it for when I was 9 years old told me there was no way Santa Claus couldn't be real because his mom couldn't afford the number of presents that he got for Christmas. So Santa Claus was the only option.
Real talk.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Some serious stuff there. Victoria, I'd like to hear whether you prefer white lights or colored lights on a tree.
White lights all the way.
Really?
Absolutely the white lights. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
When I was like 4, maybe colored lights. But yeah, there's a strong divide in my family between the 3 younger kids and the 3 older kids. The older ones prefer white, the younger ones prefer colored. We, a year or 2 ago, compromised and did both, but the tree dried out really fast.
Oh gosh.
So we typically go to, white. I think white is elegant and pretty, and that's always been, ever since I was a little kid, one of my favorite parts about the Christmas tree. I would, just ever since I was probably 5 or 6, I still crawl under it every year and journal underneath, or like look up through the branches or something. Just a tradition that I've held on to that I still like. And I think the white ones are a lot better to look at. So yes, definitely white. White is elegant and pretty and lovely.
Well, I think along that line, since
contested.
that was an easy answer, you ought to explain the present diving tradition as well.
Oh my.
That goes along with it.
Yes. Yes, there is a long and glorious tradition in my family, between me and my next sister. And it is called present diving. It happens on Christmas Eve. And several years back, our family had been going through a lot of hard stuff, and we decided, we need a new tradition. And so after the younger kids went to bed, my next sister and I acted like we were 3. And the goal is to flop over as many, furniture items as possible, check as many presents as possible. You're not allowed to shake them, but you can still jump over things and try and figure out how many presents you have and how many presents everyone else has, and is it even and is it not? And it has become a tradition. The other kids now at this point want to be a part of it, but we have them, wait to a certain age before they are old enough to be part of the present diving tradition. So yeah, if you want details on how that works, feel free to message me and I will explain to you too how you and your siblings can take part in this great tradition.
Wow. I hope there's physical diving involved too.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Well, as much diving as you can do outside of a pool. The more you can squash the other sibling in the process, the better.
Oh.
That's always good.
Excellent. Mm-hmm. Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Ben, can you explain what your best and worst presents have been?
It's funny because I saw this and I'm actually not sure what my worst present is. Like, I don't have like an immediate story, which I wish I did. Probably means I had a good family. But I do know what my best present was by far, which was, I think this was like in high school. My parents got me a free year of the entire Adobe suite, my brother and I, and that was basically like my entire career came from that. So that present has paid back dividends. But yeah, if I think back on like what present probably made the biggest impact on my life, definitely that one. I mean, I'd be curious to hear from you guys if you have any horror stories. I mean, I have a weird aunt who sends me like stuff that just like seems out of touch. Like it seems like everybody's got one of those, but like nothing crazy, no giant pink bunny suits, nothing like that. But I don't know. Do you guys have anything crazy like that?
See, now I'm thinking we ought to get Ben a giant pink bunny suit because like this just sounds like a wasted opportunity.
Well, get him the giant pink bunny suit and then you can bring it to next Apex. And so we'll have like the one clip of Ben dancing in the gorilla suit from 2019. And then we can follow it up with the 2021 clip of him dancing in the giant pink bunny suit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Be great.
It's a fascinating
we'll
idea.
Have Chinese food for Christmas.
Okay, so I'm trying to think of like best and worst presents. Like kind of on the same lines, we got some sort of like out of touch presents from extended family members who just didn't really know what we were into as kids, and tried to just get the generic things like Barbies and Harry Potter books and things like that. And whenever I was a small child and we were a little bit more conservative than we are now, Harry Potter books and Barbies were not acceptable. So there are some moments like that. There was a Christmas in my like teen, young, like not quite adult years where I got a robe for Christmas, and which like just starting off with that, some people may just think that's a bad idea, but let me expound on what kind of robe this was. This was a giant, like fluffy blue, like sky blue robe with sheep on it. And I don't think I've ever like had a moment where I just did not know how to react whenever I opened something on Christmas morning. But that was that moment. Anyway, long story short, robe was returned. Money was used for something else. But yeah, that was definitely the strangest present I ever got from somebody who I thought knew me pretty well. And I was just like, I was like, I have a lot of questions about who you think I am and what you think I like when I got that present. So yeah, I rectified it by returning it. And anyway.
I'm trying to picture you, Ellie, in like a sky blue robe with.
If I have to wear a bunny suit, you have to wear that. That's.
All right, Megan, take note.
Yeah, I just,
I would love another situation where I can return a Christmas present and buy something I want. So go for it, Megan. Get me the blue robe so I can take it back to the store, get the credit, and buy something else. It's fine with me.
Was it like expensive? Was that like a lot of money, or do you remember?
I don't think so. Like it's like a JCPenney situation.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
A non-refundable robe. Okay.
Cool. Bonfire material. This is fantastic. Just go out to the Brush's house. Jonathan, take note. I'll be over there sometime after Christmas with a giant blue robe to light on fire. So.
Yeah, we burned the Christmas tree last year, so it, very similar.
There you go.
You're like at Walmart in the robe buying lighter fluid. Like what a,
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll fit right in with the whole Walmart crowd.
I'll bet burning that's good for the environment.
Take that note, Megan, when you buy that robe. Just consider the environment as you're getting that present because.
Yeah. It's great. Yeah. All right. We kind of answered this earlier, but just for a quick touch base, we're going to do a quick poll. So just vote. Is Santa sweet or creepy? We already know he's not true, but is he sweet or creepy?
Creepy.
Not surprised.
Very creepy.
I'd say sweet.
I think the idea is nice, but in actuality, like people who dress up like Santa Claus are creepy. Like I think it's sort of like nice idea, terrible execution.
I gotta say, I think I'm with Ben on this one. The idea is very sweet, and depending on how you do it, it can be an incredibly sweet and meaningful tradition. However, like anything in life, I think it is possible for us to take it and make it creepy. So take note, ask your kids what they think, and make sure that you're not erring on the creepy side.
I mean,
inducing trauma like Ellie.
Yeah.
There's definitely an element of the concept too that's creepy, where you're like, oh, there's this eternal old man who has a bunch of gnome slaves in the North Pole who comes down your chimney, like breaks into your house, but in order to give gifts, right? Like, I think like everything up to the giving gifts part is like weird and creepy, but the last part kind of saves the idea. I don't know.
Yeah. When you put it that way, Ben, it sounds more like a Grimm's fairy tale.
I mean,
I mean,
it's basically a Grimm's fairy tale, but like with better pictures, like nice looking, like. And they're like, we're gonna call them elves instead of slaves. Like, where did the elves come from? Why do they work for this guy? Do they even like their job? Like, is this a voluntary relationship? We don't know anything.
There's a lot of
questions to be had.
Yes.
Yep.
Have a whole podcast just on that.
Like an investigative, like a radio lab. Who is Santa Claus? That would be really fun, actually.
Great use of time.
Yes. Excellent. Okay. Well, this is the last question I have on our list, which is, what do you want for Christmas this year?
Love in my heart.
Oh my gosh.
We could have a whole podcast just on those answers right there.
Having Victoria and Ben answer at the same moment and have such wildly different answers was amazing.
What did you say, Victoria? Best moment of the podcast
so far.
I missed it.
I said a private jet so I can quit dealing with all of the airlines that I've had so many hassles with for the last 6 weeks.
I mean, I think that's something we would all get on board with. So.
On board with.
No pun
nice pun.
Oh my goodness. I don't know. This is extremely practical. I need a new place to live by the end of the year because I'm leaving my apartment. So a new apartment would be fantastic.
It's a very
before Christmas,
gift.
Actually. If it could happen before Christmas, that'd be great. An apartment on Christmas morning would be a little awkward because I wouldn't be able to do anything about it. But something before Christmas, early gift, that'd be fantastic. So if you guys would like to help out with that situation, that'd be great.
Ellie, there's a big tree in my backyard. We could build something under it.
Victoria, build something under it. No. If you have a big tree and you want me to live around the area, it needs to be like a legitimate tree house built into the tree. Living on the ground underneath the tree is just sad.
We can do that.
Yeah. Tree house, I might consider.
Gotcha. So these have been like very Christmas centric questions, but I'm curious to know, like, do you guys do anything unconventional for Thanksgiving? Like, are you turkey people? Are you ham people? Are you duck people? Like, I'm curious.
Okay, I have a good answer to this.
Okay.
So
Go for it.
In my house growing up, we always had turkey for Thanksgiving and then ham for Christmas and Easter. Like, it was the thing. Never changed. And when we got into our upper teens, Mom asked us, like, what do you guys, want for Thanksgiving? And we were like, we always have turkey. We just want turkey. She's like, well, nobody ever seems to eat the leftovers. And we're like, oh, well, we don't like turkey. She's like, well, I don't have to buy turkey. And we're like, no, we still have to have turkey on this holiday. So my poor mom for having to put up with that is the same. But yeah, turkey has to be eaten on the actual day. None of us like to eat the leftovers. So we just kind of ignore them until they go bad.
Wow.
Okay.
So it's
have
more
you ever
like
tried
symbolic consumption. It's like you don't actually like it, but you're like, it's Thanksgiving.
It's super true. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Have you ever tried leftover dishes? Like, what scarred you for leftovers?
She'd make like turkey soup. We do a lot of turkey sandwiches. We just don't love the flavor of turkey.
Okay. I highly recommend turkey pot pie. Turkey soup, not really on board with that idea. Mm-hmm. Turkey pot pie, though, is the only one that I found that's actually decent.
Okay.
Yeah. So my family, Megan, did the same thing. It was turkey for Thanksgiving, ham for Christmas and Easter. But I will say this Thanksgiving, I have different plans than my typical traditional ones because one, I will not be at home with my family for Thanksgiving. So all of those like traditional meal things aren't necessarily happening. And we're going to be having like a Friendsgiving situation with a few people. And we have decided that to make turkey more interesting, because we're all on board with the idea that turkey is relatively boring, we're going to be doing bacon wrapped turkey bites.
Okay. Now that sounds amazing.
Yeah. So forget
brilliant.
We're not like going to cook the whole turkey because that's a pain all on its own. I've tried that once in my life on my own, and that was a massive headache. And I got done with it and I was like, why in the world did I spend so much energy on this thing that I don't even like? So we're scrapping that, doing turkey breasts and turkey legs, and wrapping everything in bacon. So
Wow. I mean, I support the wrapping it in bacon. That's great regardless. But I don't understand all the people who don't like turkey. Like, I love turkey.
You can eat it all.
Okay. Works for me. But we always do actually, typically we'll do both things, both turkey and ham on Thanksgiving. And then Christmas is different. But everyone in my family likes both, except for my youngest brother, who's just ham fan, I guess. And so last night we had some turkey last night from a different meal, and my little brother, everyone else is enjoying it. My little brother's sitting there, and there's a lull in the conversation, and out of the blue he just pipes up, "Man, I can't wait for spiral ham." And then he keeps going with the normal conversation. So we do have both in my family, but typically we enjoy both, because if you could have both turkey and ham, why not?
I will say, like, one of the best things about having a turkey is turkey broth, because you can do a lot of things with turkey broth, and broth is actually flavorful and tastes good, and is like doesn't have the main problem turkey has, and which is my opinion is being really dry. So
you should just eat the dark meat.
I mean, I do.
I mean, that's also why there's gravy. That's how I do it.
Well, I think, and it's about preparation. Like a couple of years ago, my mom got into smoking meat. And so she smokes our turkey. And that's the best turkey, in my opinion, is if you can get it smoked and it's well prepared and it's actually like done in brine and the whole 9 yards. Like, it's not dry, tastes amazing. So I'm a fan of that. We've never really been a ham family. I'm probably the ham in our family, but
I knew that was coming. There was no way that sentence could finish.
But we do turkey on Thanksgiving, and then we do lasagna on Christmas. That is our personal family tradition. Yeah, it's pretty solid. Although my whole theory about lasagna is like it always tastes better the next day, because like the flavors get to sit. Because you could have the lasagna fresh, it tastes great, but you put it in the fridge, you reheat it, it's like 100 times better. So anyway,
yep, yeah,
that's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. Never ever done casserole for a holiday meal. So,
So day after Christmas, everyone's going to show up at Ben's.
Where's the lasagna?
Lasagna.
We'll just make sure it's all gone by then. Right on. Well, thank you guys for tuning in to this maybe slightly abbreviated holiday podcast. I hope you found it entertaining. Once again, just like we said at the beginning, go to beunbound.us/refer if you know somebody who's a good fit for this community, a good fit for our program, and go to beunbound.us/basecamp if you want to learn how to master life skills and become a more functional human being in the universe. Thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you next time.